place. So we're jumping now into game number 1 on Broken Crown between TheoRy and Highdra. So TheoRy is going to be spawning on the bottom left side of the map, of course, as Infernals for Team Aftermath, and on the upper right side, it is Highdra. Both players are starting out with a Conclave. No, with an Iron Vault and a Conclave, and on the other side, it is a Conclave start. Good luck's flying off, because of course, this is the Grand Finals. We are fully expecting some really good matches here, folks. So we're seeing a opening that everybody should be somewhat familiar with up until this point, which seeks to grab the speed camps. Of course, getting the creep out on the map is one of the best ways to start producing all the fiends that you can utilize later for aggression or to continue to get more speed camps. There is a little imp here from TheoRy that seems to be advancing into the middle of the map, potentially for a Shroud Tower, to keep those resource camps right here in the middle secured for the side of TheoRy. This is an evolution to the general idea that TheoRy had alongside of their other Aftermath players, that if you are a Infernal player, you should be out in the map and trying to get as many creeps as possible. And although Highdra is going with a different set, which sees the speed camp first, it seems like TheoRy is, yeah, both build orders kind of came about from the Aftermath team, and everybody seems to have following their path, but we'll see which one is stronger. I would wager that Hydra's build order is a little bit more relaxed in the sense that it is more focused on having your production buildings and quite a few of your buildings on your side of the map, while the TheoRy evolution here seems to be looking towards expanding in the middle of the map, grabbing some of these resources camps first, and then deciding to follow on from there. It seems like TheoRy was unable to get the kill on that little imp that it was very low health, but he is doing a good job here denying the potential Therium for the side of Highdra, which is gonna delay the guns quite a bit, of course. Getting the speed camps now, and in the middle of the camps, both resource camps have been claimed, and now it's time for the vision camp. It's very interesting when you see these top players compete, how they will maximize however many units they actually need to take a resource camp. Of course, for the most part, most players will try to play it safe, but in this case, every little unit that you can just maintain on the field and get the most value out of will be perfect. And in this case, this could be a little bit scary. There are two fiends, and two fiends could be very deadly for a gaunt, but they will be pushed back. And we will have our first major confrontation of the day, I believe. It is two brutes on the side of Highdra versus the single brute on the side of TheoRy. He gets a good kill on the fiends, but now has to retreat back to his side of the map to try and ensure that reinforcement come here early. Good split there to get the extra white health. Gets one of the gaunts. Now 3 gaunts versus a couple of brutes and 2 gaunts. This might spell disaster for either player if they don't play it perfectly right. Oh, the fiends, they get a perfect hit on the 2 low health gaunts and they divide them into further fiends. This is a tough fight, and it seems like Highdra will take the upper hand here. One lone brute now out on the field for TheoRy. It splits, it gets a kill on the gaunt, but because it was not infested, it will not convert into a fiend. And now Highdra is feeling quite a bit more relaxed. He has the control over the map. The core army of our friend TheoRy has been eliminated. He will have to regain that position, but it is worth noting that the only camps that Highdra has been able to take in that time have been his own and the speed camp. But on the other side, TheoRy took both of the resource camps in the middle and both of the vision camps, and will now have the opportunity to also take his own resource camp back at base. That'll be another nice little bunch of resources, I believe 40 Luminite that he can bag for himself, and will do so in a moment. Going for the heal camp now up here. Highdra, not only for the heal, but also for the Therium, which is very much needed for those masses of gaunts, and most importantly, for the Doombringer. So Doombringer, the core strategy that we've been seeing time in and time out for the Infernal players. We're not going to get to experience that in the next series, but we're far away from the next series. We're in game number 1 between TheoRy and Highdra. There is a Gaunt drop getting prepared here for TheoRy. In the meantime, Highdra is checking that there is no third expansion. He already checked the one on the cubby of the side of the forest. Now checks the one lower into the ramp. And there is, of course, a natural 4th or 5th position, which is right on the side of the big Therium. Here comes the first drop then for the side of TheoRy. Will it be a fruitful one? 5 Gaunts go down, and they'll now need to micro in and out of the Doombringer to keep them alive. 1 Fiend spawns, but it is quickly defeated, and unfortunately Highdra has the forces there to repel the attack. It'll be on to the next stage, it seems, going through the forest to avoid any detection. Sees that there is no third here. And for his side, Highdra has a much bigger load parted up into his own Doombringer. A Gaunt is very low health and it will die. So TheoRy will lose a Gaunt in that approach. It could still go into the main and try to devise some damage there, but with only 4 Gaunts and a Gaunt drop on the other side of the map about to occur, he may need to focus his attention back at his own base. The Fiends are not going to be that powerful. They will become Fiends themselves. And onto the Gaunts and Brutes. They're now attacking here. The Gaunts go down. 2 Gaunts go down. And it is well defended by the side of TheoRy. Well protected. It will deny the drop. And on the other side, an expansion now going down for Highdra. Slightly ahead. But I'm sure TheoRy is thinking about expanding himself. He knows that he has denied this Doombringer drop quite excellently. And he now brings back his own, probably to load up with more and more Fiends, with more Gaunts, excuse me. Probably a potential pick for Imps as well. Instead, a Magmadon will go up. So this is now loaded up with 4 Fiends and a Magmadon. Quite a nasty unit. It will get spotted by the Doombringer and the Gaunts here in the middle. But it will not go down. So third about to finish on the side of Highdra. Meanwhile, here comes a drop, just a bunch of Fiends, but the Fiends would be good enough. Trample will go out to try and maintain the Gaunts alive. I believe a couple of them have been killed though, and the Magmadon deals a lot of damage, but it is primarily Fiends. A Shroud Zone manifestation does go down to ensure that the Doombringer, Magmadon, and all of the Gaunts are dead. That is a expensive drop that did not achieve a lot of its goals. It mostly killed Fiends and a couple of Imps, if I had to guess. Now a third going down for the side of TheoRy, but you can see that Highdra already fully loaded on his own side will start producing those and getting up into a 4th. TheoRy is playing from behind at this point, and we'll need to figure out what ways he can protect himself from future aggression in here. Resource camps are starting to go back up, especially the vision camps, which have now leveled up to level 2. This is particularly important because you want to have vision outside on those side areas to avoid any problematic drops such as this. Getting the Magmadon there, but a good number of kills on Imps and Fiends and a couple of Fellhawks too. So how could TheoRy respond to this? He will need another Doombringer if he is planning to create more drops, but Highdra is more than happy to stay outside of the range and just stay still for just a moment. Fiends now out to scout for the side of Highdra. Here comes another drop with the Magmadon. Pulls all of the Imps outside of the Luminite line for just a little while, but doesn't do anything more than just that. So scouted is the third. TheoRy wants to maintain it safely and will go even into a 4th, but again, Highdra is already pushing through his Imps into all of these bases. You can of course select all of your bases and then right click onto Illuminate Line, and that'll allow you to fully saturate Illuminate Line quite quickly. It seems like TheoRy wants to scout this, but it'll be met with force, and then the vision cap up north will fall to the hands of Highdra if he wants to. But it seems like he will walk right through and into TheoRy's third base. TheoRy predicting this, pulling on some Magmadons, opening up the space, but the Magmadon and Magmadon war, well, it seems to be more on the side of our good friend Highdra. There are a couple of Shroudstone towers, and one of them is a Manifested, which has a higher firing rate, but it won't be enough if a fight is committed. Another Shroudstone going up here, but it gets destroyed before it could get a cancel. Trample now on the side of TheoRy, stunning those units, but at the same time, the trample of Highdra is just that much more powerful. He will walk through and forward into the third base. Magmadon versus Magmadon. The brutes are right there. The splits are not perfect, but the guns on the back, they will make short work of all of these units, infesting just all of the guns. Then into the Fiends, a mass infest is now being casted upon those guns to try and eliminate them, but the Magmadon stun is going to make short work of the guns on the back. The imp line has been completely destroyed, and that third will go down. TheoRy now having to face an opponent will GG and give game number 1 to Highdra. So we'll go ahead and give game number 1 to Highdra. There we go. Let me double check something real quick. And we'll head into game number 2 in just a moment. So we saw in game number 1 what I would call a fairly standard opening for both Infernal players. We'll see where we go to game number 2. There is Titan Causeway on the map pool. There is also you also have Secluded Grove and Jagged Maw. All of those games could be quite disastrous for either player. We'll go ahead and update the scores at the moment. And then we'll grab our lobby code and we'll jump into the next match. So here we have our code. Let's go ahead and join it. So Highdra up 1 here. TheoRy, because he lost the first game, will get to have host for the second one as well. So he will remain our blue player, while Highdra remains our red player. And we'll get started in just a moment, it seems. So we're jumping into the game, I believe. Both players giving themselves good lucks and have funs in their match chat. And we're going to be going into Jagged Maw. So Jagged Maw could be over very quickly, or could be a very long, drawn-out macro game. We'll see which one it is. Of course, the siege camps are going to play a very important part in all of this, and we have, once again, as the host of the server in the lobby, it is going to be TheoRy playing Infernals on the bottom right, and opposite to him on the upper right, it is Highdra. Also on the Infernals for game number 2 of this best of 5. We have an imp going out there for an item vault, and on the side of TheoRy is a double conclave opening. So I need to mine some of the Ethereum for the guns. Here's a conclave as well on the side of our friend Highdra. And of course, both players are going to be looking at the same prize, which is the Siege Camp. One of the core strategies that we've seen play out time and time again is to break through the middle pillars right here in Jagged Maw, get a good result on your Siege Camp, which essentially means kill all of the Siege Camp without losing any of your units, and then drive the siege all the way to your opponent's base. Of course, because both players are more than ready for this idea, they'll also drop a Shroudstone Tower so they can engage the Siege Camp with fewer units. And well, one of the big fights to look forward to in this game is going to be through this middle path. We're going to need to be very mindful of who wins that fight, and especially who does it with their Siege Camp already claimed, because something that could potentially happen here is that you weaken your own Siege Camp, the breakthrough happens, you lose the fight for the breakthrough, and then you have to kind of hope that your opponent only picks their side of the Siege Camp and not yours. Shroudstone Tower now going up with a double gaunt to start things over, and on the side of Highdra he is with a single gaunt and a little brute to pick those things up. Obviously he went for his resource gun first, while List, our friend TheoRy, did not. So TheoRy is somewhat rushing this Siege Camp a little bit more than his opponent. Neither of them have started to get that middle pillar destroyed, which means that if you don't destroy it, or at least don't destroy it wide enough, your Siege Camp will just go up the ramp and then all the way through onto the other side, and it seems like TheoRy is more than happy for that to be the case, while Highdra is engaging on some pillar destruction here to guarantee his Siege Camp will go through the middle of the map instead. Now this could be somewhat destructive for TheoRy. There is a Siege Camp and the Shroudstone Tower will try to do a little bit of work, but it won't really get far. TheoRy is surely aware of this and will need to double back. Well, is the siege that he actually freed up here is going to get attacked. He is not gonna be able to save it in time, so instead we'll lose his units and we'll lose a couple more fiends and gaunts as well. This is not a good look for TheoRy at this very moment. He could be on for a big loss here. All of these brutes could split ahead of time. There you go, you see it. The Infest doesn't trigger on splitting brutes manually, and now the gaunts are gonna be dead. GG for TheoRy. Highdra is gonna be up 2 games on this best of 5 to start us out. Not a great start for TheoRy, who will surely want to come together and get a win on game number 3. So we have Highdra winning game here. And we'll have to see what happens. We'll wait for the for folks to give us the code on the next one, and here it is. We'll join now and watch game number 3. So Highdra going up 2 games. We're gonna have TheoRy once again taking on the host as we head into game number 3, Broken Crown, between TheoRy on the bottom left side of the map with his Infernals against Highdra on the upper right, also donning the Infernal faction. And both players seem to be going for the exact same thing that we saw in game 1. There were multiple occasions for TheoRy where, you know, had he not lost that Doombringer, had he made a bigger impact with the Doombringer gun drops earlier in the game, maybe he could have been able to overcome the challenges that Highdra gave him. And so this could be a chance for redemption. He is not going with his previous strategy of dropping a Shroudstone right in the middle here, it seems. He is instead getting the cut through and will then move on and build a either iron vault or a meat farm over in this area. But no, he will cut through, but will instead grab the middle again. So that is the strategy that he feels most comfortable with. A Shroudstone tower, also getting up to help on the camp. A Gaunt now out in the field, and that'll help clean up the speed camp on the bottom right of the map. So Shroudstone up. Brute now claiming the resource camp for the side of TheoRy. And a Gaunt will come in, send the Infest, provide a Fiend for the effort. There he goes. So here is the Gaunt and Brute for the side of Highdra to pick up the kill on the speed camp. Of course, the speed camps have been greatly nerfed from the previous patch. Previously, there were 5 units here on the camp, and you would have been able to turn all of them into fiends. Now, there are only 3. TheoRy doing the exact same thing. You know, clean up here. Unfortunately, this could be very dangerous in the long run for this early start of the game. Having a Gaunt be so weak could be fairly problematic for TheoRy, as just a couple of fiends are more than capable of killing that little Gaunt. On the other side, Highdra is building a remarkable base of units. A good number of fiends, Gaunts, and brutes. And the expansion is rather isolated at this very moment, but it seems like TheoRy is pulling back. He will defend his base. Fiends begin to engage. Low health fiends all around. And now 3 Gaunts versus 2, as well as a brute mixed into the middle. Shroudstone Tower going up to protect the expansion, but the expansion is getting lower and lower. The Gaunts are doing good work here. Infest start to come around. The brutes are gonna split, get the white health from the manual split and avoid the infest. But now, can TheoRy hold this? 3 Gaunts against the brute is a winning composition, but you'll need to be careful about those fiends. Those fiends could get the kill here, and they become more fiends, and now the Gaunts have all turned against their master TheoRy, as Highdra is pulling through into the main base. He does have 1 Gaunt there, but it will be killed. And the expansion will go up at a great cost for TheoRy, losing a number of Gaunts. And being harassed even more here by so many. Highdra perfectly engaging on that fight, knowing the advantage that he has, and he's going for more. The Shroudstone is up, however, and so the fiends are greatly in danger if they continue to fight here. On the other side, Highdra feeling nice and pretty. He has his base up. It is fully expanded and will now just start to throw in the imps over time. The middle Shroudstone has also been cleared, and they have split the map. And now, unfortunately, the vision camp for the side of TheoRy will get taken down, and that'll be an unfortunate result for TheoRy. He won't have vision outside of the map, but his opponent will. And now comes a time for TheoRy to go and build a Doombringer, trying to get more on his drops. It might not be enough, however. We'll have to see if he's capable of it. Gets the health camp. Highdra regains a bit of health for his units, but that is not the main reason that you do it. The main reason that you do it is to get the Therium, which facilitates your Doombringer drop just a little bit quicker. We can see now the Spire getting completed, getting built, and that'll allow the Doombringer to come out next. A big mass of Gaunts getting ready here for those drops, and so is our friend Highdra getting a Shroudstone. He knows what's coming, and I'll load up Brutes and Gaunts over onto this side, and here comes the other one that'll meet in a meet cute in the middle of the map. And find out that, well, you are going for a drop, I'm going for a drop. Let's see whose drop is actually valuable. Highdra will take the lower path into the main base or the expansion if he chooses. On this side, TheoRy scouts out the third while going at it, and now is heading into the main base. Drop coming down from TheoRy hits the imps, the Fellhawks. Fellhawks become fiends, and that gets your engine going. On the other side, we have Highdra, who has also impacted TheoRy's Therium line, and it's now gonna get pushed back by a Shroudstone manifestation. Same can be said of TheoRy, who is now suffering from a Shroudstone manifestation. It seems like he lost 2 gaunts during that engagement and will have to pull back. On this other side, Highdra is continuing to drum, gets his brood up into the action. 3 gaunts though, and they are very low health. Infest might be able to clean them up, and his actual Doombringer is just coming back empty. He decides to throw away the units here. Did quite a bit of impact against TheoRy, but he will not end it. So we're going now further into the 6-minute and 7-minute mark with TheoRy having sustained a little bit more, having been able to provide a little bit more damage for his side going into the next, and another Doombringer now getting loaded up for Highdra. As the resource camps, vision camps, and all of the other creeps around the map are beginning to refill, it is an opportunity to get ahead on this match and then take the camps, provide a stable progression of that. The Shroudstones are going to do its job. A drop within a drop will result in a good denial, but it does mean that TheoRy is not able to attack his opponent if he's having to defend against all of these drops. The dance of the Doombringers has begun as they go back and forth, trying to avoid taking any damage from his opponent's Doombringer, while at the same time needing to plan ahead for his own. This Shroudstone is providing good support here, with the Fellhawks well protected behind it. And on the other side, TheoRy spots the expansion here, will probably need to cancel to regain the resources. Our friend Highdra, if he is doing time, he is, but he will lose the imp either way. And the fiends can start munching on a little bit of iron there to protect themselves. Here comes another gun drop in the middle of the main base. The Fellhawks are gonna provide for a nice little chunky of fiends, and that Doombringer is starting to have lower and lower health. The fiends do their job. They kill the iron vault. That is gonna be 1 fewer production buildings for the side of Highdra, but I don't suppose he will be too angry about it. We have an expansion going up for TheoRy. So for the first time in this series, after game number 1, we can see that TheoRy is ahead in his base count. He's been struggling with that on game number 1, and now on game number 3, he's able to pull it together. Of course, being down 2, he needs to win this. Otherwise, he will unfortunately end up walking away empty-handed and down into the lower finals. Good defensive position here to maintain it against his opponent. And a drop on this side against the expansion is going to result in a couple of ints getting hit, but the geometric size of the Magmadon does not allow to properly cover this area. He will check for an expansion here and finds not, and there is an expansion going up now on the other side of the map, so if TheoRy is able to go through it, he could deny it once again. Up they go, and out. And this side, TheoRy starting to feel himself a little bit more. He's up now into the 4th base. 1 base full ahead of his opponent. Disrupts the Therium line quite successfully. Gets a number of fiends going. Not enough to engage in a full frontal fight out of the Doombringer, but it might just be enough to buy himself even more time and disrupt the economy of Highdra. The Magmadon finally goes down, but the loss is definitely not unexpected for TheoRy. He knew it could have happened, and he's more than happy to continue having the results that he is having. And now his main army moving out into the map. He will claim the resource camps. Oh, but a Doombringer. It will get spotted ahead of time and denied most likely by the Gauns. Magmadons pushing forward with Trample. They could be very bad here. They get picked up by the side of the Doombringer, and it'll push the main army, which is now advancing for Highdra. A Shroudstone manifestation is probably in the cards for our friend TheoRy to try and protect against this engagement. Big fight going then. Starting to happen. A lot of Doombringers, a lot of Magmadons. There is a Shroudstone manifestation to keep pushing back the army of Highdra. TheoRy will need to play this cleanly if he wants to remain within the match. He has the advantage of being up a few bases, but is that enough against a straightforward fight here? One Shroudstone will likely go down, as it is right on the edge. But how do you engage this, TheoRy? How do you plan around this fight when your opponent has Trample? Off it goes one of the Magmadons to disrupt with the stuns. It will eventually go down, but every little bit counts. Another Magmadon now for Highdra, flanking and trying to get the kill here, and Infest going through. And it seems like TheoRy is feeling quite well about this. His Magmadons are going to be pushing into his opponents. They are going to get kills on the Brutes and on the Gaunts, and that's exactly what you want. Disruption. In comes the rest of the army, and I believe TheoRy is having a really good time with this. The tramples have been spent, though, so they'll need a little bit of time to cool down. Highdra GG's. We have a series as Highdra taps out and decides to give TheoRy his first win of the day. So we're now moving into game number 4. So while this is, while we wait for the next lobby code chat, I will remind you that if you want to support the players that you're seeing today, you can donate to the prize pool with exclamation point donate. You go to the Macherino. Just by logging in and claiming one of the coupon codes, you are already adding 25 cents to the prize pool. And you can, of course, if you want to, add more money to it as well. This is the Alpha Navigators Cup season finals. So next week, we're going to be starting the next season, which is an open tournament that everybody can join. And I'll send the link over in a second here in the chat as well. So if you want to register yourself to play in tournaments and potentially one day compete alongside these players, you can do that by going to the link that I just shared, which is start.gg/tank-season1s1. And that'll bring you to the next season of Tank, where you can potentially face some of these great players in a Swiss stage or potentially a top 8. And then after 8 of them, you could end up in this particular finals. We are on the upper finals, a best of 5, 1-2, and once again, this is going to be for TheoRy to win it. He has to win this game, otherwise he will be facing the lower bracket, and whoever wins against Probe versus Mixu. So be ready. Things could get ugly for everybody involved. And we'll have to see in a moment how this result goes. So we're heading into game number 4. Because TheoRy has his first win of the day, I should actually do the swap. Apologies, I forgot to do this one. Let me swap it over so that we have the proper teams. There we go. And Highdra. There we go. That'll do it. So welcome to game number 4. Highdra is now the host of the lobby. He will be starting on the bottom on Jagged Maw, playing as Infernals, and on the top we have TheoRy, also our Infernal player. We've seen this play out before. They went to game 2 on Jagged Maw, and it was Highdra who won that game. We'll see if he can repeat the same result. If he does, he wins the series. If he doesn't, we go to a game number 5. Very impressive game by both players. That Broken Crown game was very clinical for both players as they tried to secure a win, a conclave, a double conclave opening for the side of Theory. Well, on the other side, we have a Conclave and an Iron Vault, alongside 2 Shroudstone Towers. So this is a little bit unorthodox, at least for what this particular Siege Rush wants to do. Getting 2 Shroudstones will increase the amount of damage that he is doing to the Siege Camp with fewer units, and we'll see if that is enough to claim victory here. For his side, TheoRy is going with a classic, just trying to get the cleanup onto the Siege Camp, getting the Shroudstone to start dealing most of the damage that will be needed here. Both Shroudstone here, supposed to complement the damage that otherwise the Gaunt and Brute would do, and to protect, most likely, from whatever cut-through ends up happening. So we can see more Gaunts being produced. Another Conclave is going up, and here with a Shroudstone. So TheoRy is fully expecting a fight to eventually reach his base in the coming minutes, but he will be the first to claim the siege. Now, will he claim it immediately or wait? Seems like he's gonna delay the pickup for just enough time, as Highdra now goes in and will begin the cut through. Off the little pillars they go, and it needs to happen fairly soon before the path says, hey, it is actually faster to finish up there, and that it is. So here comes the cut through. TheoRy is fully expecting it and may pick up the siege right now to try and engage his opponent. It is a bit of a split army here for TheoRy, but the bet might pay off. The siege is blocking the way. And now siege versus siege, but the damage might be done already. It is enough to keep everything alive, and the siege, although it is advancing, it is very low health. The 2 Shroudstone Towers and the 3rd that is going up right now, they will be more than enough to sustain this, I believe. And indeed, the Shroudstone will kill the siege camp, and we'll have a match for at least some 3 or 4 minutes, as both camps are having to reload and get ready again. The main distinctive difference between the 2 players right now is the Gaunt numbers. So we'll see if TheoRy decides to go and claim the Vision camp as well as the Speed camp here for some extra fiends, but it seems like he is content to just leave them there. It might be because he wants to go up into a Doombringer and begin his drops immediately, or at least as soon as he is able. One quick note here on the siege camp is that the lower siege camp was taken first, and there are 2 Shroudstone Towers ready for when it respawns for Highdra to reclaim it and just be really quick about it and continue his push forward. While on the other side, TheoRy lost his Shroudstone Tower that was up there and will then need to just chill. Fortunately, he also won't have vision over this entire area for a little while, and his opponent actually will. So we've seen Infernal players sometimes decide to go and grab the big Illuminate line on this place instead of expanding onto the would-be natural 3rd. With Highdra taking all of the maps around. The only map he has not taken yet is the Speed camp. Oh, and a little imp is gonna get found and killed here at that very moment. A number of Shroudstone Towers. There are a wall of Shroudstone Towers up on the side of TheoRy. Interestingly enough, our friend Highdra has not expanded yet. He has gone up to a greater shrine, but has opted to keep it all to one base, and will now be seeking a Doombringer drop. And the same is said for TheoRy. They will both go up against each other. They might even meet in the middle, but will not. They'll miss each other. Suppose Highdra maybe has a 6th sense that perhaps there is something coming. Pushing now. With the guns, the Fellhawks provide the excellent base for fiends, which now continue to infest other Fellhawks and will attack the imp line on the Luminite. Here comes a counter drop by the side of Highdra, but it only gets one of the Gauns. There are still Fiends and other Gauns ready, but he will rescue some of them and potentially come back. Highdra then has to think very carefully. One of the siege camps will reload right now at level 4, so it is a little bit more dangerous. But this could be very bad for TheoRy if he's not careful. The drop goes through, but it doesn't deal as much damage. The biggest worry here for TheoRy is that if Highdra takes that camp and then chooses to take this camp, then that'll be 2 siege camps pushing deep into his side of the map, as he is trying to get some drops going here, but the enemy guns constantly continue to attack him. So here comes the siege camp on this side. It'll be going forward. Oh, and TheoRy loses a number of guns. And surely he must know, surely, that the siege camps are being taken if he's not being attacked. And Highdra thinks for a second, decides to not go for TheoRy's siege camp. Will then push the Shroudstone towers, and the siege will make short work of those Shroudstones at the moment. Magmadons could be very powerful though. That is a big mass of guns and Fiends that perhaps won't survive a major engagement. The Doombringer dies right there on the top, which was providing good scape before. Magmadon will go down for the side of TheoRy, but it has already done its job. It trampled over his opponents, allowed TheoRy to get a little bit of time, get some damage on, and the gaunt masses here could prove very powerful for the side of TheoRy, but it will have to pull back. As a drop now, oh, the Doombringer, if it dies, oh, it loses a number of guns. TheoRy was fiddling with what to do with it, but it wasn't going to be enough. Fiends now munching at the heels of the Gauns. They're going to get 4 or 5 kills. They kill all of the Gauns that were trying to run away. An excellent result for Highdra, who is now going to go for the other siege camp. It is worth noting that with an increased level on the siege camp, they become deadlier and deadlier. So he does have the units for it, but he has to be careful to not lose too many units to this engagement. And bringing even more guns forward. What's very important here is that TheoRy is on 3 bases. So if he survives this engagement again, he will be more than capable of overwhelming Highdra in the next 5, maybe 4 minutes of the game, as the siege camps start their cooldown of 2 minutes, or cooldowns of 4 minutes. In goes the fight. The siege is well protected behind this. So what will TheoRy do? He tramples over and focuses on the siege. Very well done. A Shroudstone Manifestation also protects the advancing forward. And Highdra GG's out. It is a game number 5, folks. We are going to game number 5 between TheoRy and Highdra. An exciting engagement between these 2 players. A game number 5 to tie it all up. And we'll see in a moment where we're going. We could be going to Broken Crown, to Secluded Grove, even to Titan Causeway. What map will Highdra choose to go to? He chooses Broken Crown. So this has been a Broken Crown, Jagged Maw, Broken Crown, Jagged Maw, Broken Crown affair. I will run 3 minutes of ads right now, so none of you people get ads after. If you don't want to see the ads to see the very start of the game, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, but apologies, I don't want ads to run in the middle of the match, so we're running it as things are getting set up and as the first few minutes go. Enjoy the ads. If you don't want ads, you can subscribe to the channel. That is greatly appreciated as well. But indeed, we are going into Broken Crowns. And we'll see what terrors will befall our competitors here. So we're waiting on our last observer. This is fairly good. It helps us avoid the ads. But we're waiting on Behemoth to come in. There we go. And now we'll get ourselves started on to the next match. The final match. Map number 5 between Highdra and TheoRy. It is, of course, Highdra. And we'll have on the bottom left, on game number 5 on Broken Crown, the last game of this upper finals for these two players. It is going to be Highdra. And on the upper right, we will have TheoRy. So once again, Broken Crown. The players are literally 2-2, not only in terms of their score, but also in terms of their maps. One has won in Broken Crown before, one has won in Broken Crown after, and the same for Jagged Maw. So whatever happens here will determine who one of our grand finalist players will be. So TheoRy going with an Iron Vault, Conclave cutting through and getting potentially another Iron Vault, or more likely a Shroudstone Tower in the middle. And on this side, it's actually a very different strategy that our friend Highdra is employing. A Conclave all the way at the base, and then an Iron Vault very far away from any side of his base. So what is he trying to go for? Does he suspect that TheoRy is going to push on this side of the map first, and so he wants to have a Brute and a Gaunt ready to go to contest them on this little area? The resource camp will be the first thing to go here, getting one Fiend to now attack the speed camp, but you can see that Highdra is right there, and we'll find it out. The Brute could split, and a 3 versus 1 against the Gaunt will result in the Gaunt dying. There are no two ways about it, and now the Gaunt is dancing around trying to survive. It will manage to survive. What a result for TheoRy. That is an opening pick that is truly envious in an Infernal versus Infernal matchup. You just killed a Gaunt and a Brute for your opponent. You are getting the speed camp, and you had the vision camp as well. This will set up TheoRy on a great, powerful start for this game, and unfortunately, the Iron Vault being so far away could be problematic when it comes to defending your base later. But for now, TheoRy is content to just clean up what is happening here, get the infest off on those creeps, and build a big Fiend army that'll be powerful not just against other creeps such as the Vision Camp, the Speed Camp, and the Resource Camp that are remaining, but also a fantastic pickup to then go and harass his opponent Highdra. Highdra, for his part, is getting ready for it. Has 2 Shroudstone on his expansion, and meanwhile, TheoRy is expanding as well. We'll probably throw a Shroudstone too to keep everything safe, but look at this. All of these Fiends, and one of the important things to keep in mind throughout all of this is that your Fiends are very powerful against enemy Gaunts. And at the moment, with the 2 Gaunts that are out there, that could be very bad for the side of Highdra. He will lose in a straight up engagement. He will lose all of his Gaunts very, very quickly because of all of these Fiends. So he has to be very careful. Careful with the engagements, careful with the map control. TheoRy right now has all of it that he needs. At least a health camp will give him some Thorium for Highdra, enough for a drop to pop down later on, but we will see if that ends up being the case. He is going to be behind also the Shroudstone Towers, although cheap. Getting 3 of them is quite an investment in your defenses. Fully healing up the Gaunts, and now with a greater shrine up into the next tier of units, it'll be only a matter of time before a Gaunt drop will happen. Massive fiends, look at that. And they'll be getting white health now. Those fiends could be very, very powerful going forward. One key thing that could happen is that the gun drops on the main base while the little fiends over here, they attack the expansion. They will have to go against a number of Shroudstones, but even if you have to go up against a number of Shroudstones, you're still feeling pretty good about that. Crossing paths. I don't believe TheoRy saw the drop coming, but he will have one of his own, and the key problem is that the Shroudstones here, they are going to be very, very powerful. Infest does gets a couple of imps, but it'll only clean up a couple. And now for his side, here's Highdra dropping with a couple of roots and the Gaunts. Fellhogs do go down, but a Shroudstone manifestation will result in Highdra pulling back and stomping that. You can see this little fiend mass that is just going around trying to nip at the heels of anybody they can find. Any guns that are outside into the map. The drop goes down here on the expansion. Another Shroudstone manifestation now. All of that animus that TheoRy had been able to pick up over the creep camps now proving useful, as he's able to put down 2 Shroudstone manifestations back to back and defend himself for it. Now the fiends checking for the 3rd. They will probably check the other side as well. Highdra still sniping, looking for a drop that he can make his. Here's a drop from TheoRy. Gets a number of imps hit, but the triple Shroudstone Tower is good enough and will actually lose one of them on this side. No expansion going up. Here is another attack by Highdra, and Highdra is doing a fantastic job here of denying the drops for our friend TheoRy, while also being incredibly annoying for TheoRy to deal with these drops by Highdra. Highdra is just finding the perfect timing to ensure that he can just be annoying against his opponent and not have to worry about his base being attacked. Another drop by Highdra here. Go again, but doesn't actually get anything with it. Has to retreat back. And now a Shroudstone coming down to fully deny that possible attack. While this, no, he denies it. He cancels it out. He wants his Doombringer to be walking around the map, to be flying around the map, to be floating around the map. And now going for the Vision Camp is TheoRy. TheoRy is very much on the idea that he wants this map control. He wants to get as many of the creeps as he possibly can. Now his army of fiends grows larger and stronger, but could it be enough overall to actually harass Highdra? In goes for the expansion of the 3rd while expanding himself. And yeah, the mass of fiends here, it is going to get munched down a bit by the other fiends. Forces a cancellation, but it won't actually kill the enemy imp. That imp is probably going to survive and could be used for another expansion. Now here come the fiends. Has to be careful to not lose his guns to it, and will claim the next health camp. This could be a very dangerous situation though, as the health camp is going to continue to attack while also trying to cancel that expansion. It does get it. Magmadon is out and trampling, and now has to get out. Doombringer on the other side gets a trample on the other side, and oh, that's a massive squish. Gets the kill on so many Gaunts and fiends. Oh, that's a terrible engagement for TheoRy, who was looking quite ahead, but now is having to face against 2 Magmadons that are getting floated on by the Doombringer. Sure, they don't have trample. It is on cooldown, but now he has to stay on the back foot and be ready for a potential engagement on his 3rd. He was able to deny his opponents for quite a while, but now he could be losing his. An Infest goes out, will infest a number of units, and it seems like TheoRy will be able to hold on just slightly here. Will push back Highdra from his base, but this is an ugly engagement. This is an engagement of numbers. It could go either way. The trample for TheoRy is good and gets a number of Magmadons here, but the Doombringer up in the sky is going to be able to pick up the Magmadons that are most hurt. And now this is an engagement that TheoRy has to win. It is for the grand final spot. If TheoRy does not, he will GG out, but here comes the push into the third. The Gaunts are facing forward. The trample is coming through. All of the Magmadons for Highdra are very low health, but if they're trampling, they're much harder to kill on the stuns, and the Gaunts are doing as much as they can to try and get this. 2 Magmadons will go down, and there is a full health Magmadon for both sides now, trying to get into this fight. The Doombringer is going to pick up one of the Magmadons as soon as it's lower health, and it is the side of TheoRy that will bring back the Magmadon and protect it. A Shadow Manifestation goes down, kills both of the Magmadons, and that is TheoRy sustaining himself for the fight. He will walk away alive and with a third, one ahead of his opponent Highdra, but it could be very dangerous. It is one of those things where you have to be very careful about your next action. Highdra is going to be able to expand and sustain himself from it, but on the side of TheoRy, if he wants to win this game, he will need to provide a killing blow at some point. Much closer in terms of the capability that we're seeing of these players that when we saw in game number 1 and game number 3 here in Broken Crown. The advantage gained early on proved very successful for each player on those games, but now in game number 5 there is potential for the game to go long as we reach well past the 11-minute mark. A 4th base for the side of TheoRy, but this expanding, it could be bad if his opponent Highdra maximizes all of his units that he has right now. He has the advantage. Highdra has the numerical advantage in terms of units. TheoRy needs to fight good engagements here. He doesn't want to lose on fights that he could have otherwise won had he been at base. He will sacrifice a Magmadon to hit the mass, but these Gaunts are starting to look quite treacherous. Once again, the third will be hit. There is potentially another Shadow Manifestation play here for the side of TheoRy to try and keep it alive. The imps are getting moved around. One of the imps is unfortunately going to die, and the Conclave is very low health. The Magmadon trample on the little area, gets the kill on a couple of Gaunts. And now, could this be enough? Shadow Manifestation does go down on the upper left. And here's the army of TheoRy. Big fight coming. Infest goes down and gets a couple of targets, but it will result in Highdra pushing back a little. Now another round of tramples going through. Trample versus trample. The Gaunts are not affected by this though, and TheoRy is pushing forward with his own Magmadons, splits his brutes to get more fiends out into the field. He knows that the Magmadons no longer have trample. He wants to engage this. Another trample for TheoRy, gets the kill on the last remaining Magmadons, and this could be GG for Highdra because it is TheoRy on 4 bases. GG, well played gets called, and that is TheoRy.